Just a few minutes now to the start of the FIFA Women's World Cup that's taking place in New Zealand and Australia. In fact, one of the hosts, New Zealand, is playing Norway in their opening match in that opening match in Auckland at Eden Park, I beg your pardon. And one of the pioneers of women's football on the African continent, not just in South Africa, is Fran Hilton-Smith. She joins me here in studio. An absolute legend, another for us this morning. Fran, thank you so much for your time. One of the former coaches of Banyana Banyana. In fact, Fran coached Desiree Ellis as Banyana coach in her day, when Desiree, of course, was the captain in those days. Thank you so much for your time. Fran, you worked tirelessly for years and years and years, even after your coaching days were done, for women's football, to make sure it is at a respectable level, at a level that all of us can be proud of. And this is one of the moments that you have lived for in your life. In fact, when Banyana made their debut at the World Cup in 2019, it's one of the moments that you cherished, because I understand you actually bought a ticket for yourself. You privately said, I'm not missing Banyana at the World Cup.
Yeah, that's true. It was something I dreamt about my whole life since I started going to the World Cups in '95. I haven't missed one since then. And I always told my colleagues at FIFA when we were working there that we had the best players in South Africa. They'd always laugh at me. But now I'm laughing because we've been to the World Cup. We have players playing professional football. So things have really turned the corner.
Have they turned the corner enough, though, in South Africa?
Well, there's a long way to go, of course, in Africa and South Africa. But the Hollywood Bets is a big step forward. Sasol, of course, have been the backbone. And, of course, if we had, more structured school league, it would speed things up a bit. And being African champions now, of course, another proud moment for all of us in South Africa, but more for you guys who worked, as I said, tirelessly for years on this team to get to the top of African football. What sort of image are we going to this World Cup in? Are we going as underdogs? Are we going as African champions who should strike fear in the hearts of our opponents? Well, African champions, yes. You know, we spent many years climbing the hill of beating Nigeria, who were always the stumbling block, and now we have. So that's a huge step forward. And I think still Africa is lagging a bit behind the rest of the top teams in the world because Africa doesn't compete enough. But for South Africa, being at the previous World Cup, people have got over their nerves. We have that experience, so really a lot is expected from the team this time, hopefully to get through the group stages. As with the other contenders in Africa, I think the one with probably the biggest chance is Nigeria, who've been at every World Cup and have so many players, 18, playing overseas.
Having worked with FIFA for quite some time as well, what's the attitude in the corridors when it comes to, or in comparison to the Men's World Cup? This World Cup, 2023 Women's World Cup versus the 2022 Men's World Cup, because this is also the first time the Women's World Cup is played by 32 nations.
Yeah, I think women's football developing rapidly, and also what's great is that the women have got now more money this time round. Each player getting money is a massive step forward. Of course, we would want to still get a bit closer to the men who still earn, I think, 3-4 times more than the women. But times are slowly changing, and we must hope that this comes about because the women put in the same effort. Yeah.
Those are live pictures there, Fran, from Auckland, from Eden Park Stadium, renowned for rugby, actually. The Springboks having played there a couple of times against the All Blacks. But today it is playing with a ball of a different type, and there is the trophy. There is what all these ladies from the 32 nations will be playing for, and they're already lining up. The football ferns, that's the New Zealand national team. They're lining up to take on Norway in their opening match. They're underdogs, but you can never underestimate the power of home ground advantage. They have never won a match from their previous World Cups, but the strong crowd at Eden Park is expected to just carry them over the line. And how big is that, Fran? Because we're also trying to bid for the 2027 World Cup to come to South Africa here. How huge will it be for a team like ours, for Banyana, to have a 90,000 expectant crowd at FNB Stadium? One would assume that would be the venue for the opening game. Yeah, the crowd support is crucial. And I think we saw that in Morocco at the WAFCON final. There were over 50,000 people crammed into that stadium, probably much more by the looks of it. But that's what you need, is the crowd support. And today the Ferns, who, as you say, are the underdogs, have the crowd behind them. That's for sure, against a very strong opponent, Norway, who are experienced tacticians, so it's going to be tough for the Ferns. But would you say hosting gives them that edge? Yeah, hosting is a two-edged sword, of course, because, you know, if the team does badly, the crowd is inclined to turn on them a bit. But Banyana has huge support, so I certainly think the crowds would come out to support them big time. Yeah. Banyana Banyana, of course, will also be opening their World Cup in, 3 days' time on Sunday in New Zealand. I think it's in Hamilton, their first game against Sweden. So we're expecting Banyana, of course, to win. We're hoping they win. But we'll keep checking in on that first match between New Zealand and Norway in the opening of the World Cup. Fran, thank you so much for your time. You wrote a book called A Song for Banyana. I hope they play it in the dressing room throughout this World Cup. We'll talk about it next time. And get back to Ayanda Nyati, but don't miss our updates from the World Cup in just a moment.